Welcome back everybody to the DCP channel here on YouTube. I am DCP. Back here today with a different kind of video. It's going to be more of a tutorial how-to video. We're going to work here in Adobe Illustrator, which is my program of choice for graphic design and vector work. We're going to open up the program here, and what we're basically going to go over is, for anybody that's new to the program, some different ideas and things that you can use when you're getting started with Adobe Illustrator. So we're going to go through how to start a document, some basic tools that you can use in Adobe Illustrator to get you started, and basically how to save your files. So we're going to start off pretty basic in this first episode. As we go along here, we're going to get a little more and more detailed into more specific types of creations in Adobe Illustrator and how to use different tools. For today, we're going to start here. As you can see here, this is what pops up in Adobe when you first open it up. Right around here, we have some preset documents. Now you'll see here, it'll give you a basic category as to what it's for. So letter, and then it'll tell you how big it is. So some of them are in points, some of them are in pixels, and you can basically set your own. So we're going to start a new document here. And basically what we're going to do is over here on the right is where you can set up your document. You can choose from these presets. We're going to set up our own document. So up here, if you click here, you can rename, save your file name right there. You can change what kind of unit you want to use. So if you want to make an 8.5/11 sheet, you can click on inches. You can change these to 8.5/11. You can change your orientation here, and you can change how many artboards you want to start off with. What I like to work in is I work in pixels. I usually do 1,000 pixels by 1,000 pixels to start. So it's a nice square artboard. I usually don't touch anything else here. I usually save my document later, but for test purposes, we will call this test. And basically everything else is set up the way we want it. We're not gonna mess with color mode, but here you can change it to CMYK. You can change how high your raster effects are, high being 300 pixels per inch. And you have some more settings down here as well, more in detail. So we're going to start with this. I'm going to open up this document right here. Once you get the document open, this is what's going to pop up. Now, there's a few things right off the bat. Now, this is a very overwhelming program to look at if you're first starting. So you want to take it step by step. First thing you're probably going to see are all these icons on the left-hand side. These icons are all of your tools for the most part. These icons are all your tools. You have some color options here. Now, the cool thing about Adobe is that it allows you to set up your workspace, which is this whole area. Allows you to set up your workspace how you would like. If you go up here where it says workspace, for me, there's different presets, if you will. So, you know, if I click on painting, it's gonna remove and add certain panels that go along with painting. So it'll give you your color, your swatches, your color guides, your brushes, things of that nature that go along with painting. So this might all seem a little foreign to you, but as we go along here, hopefully it'll get a little easier to understand. We've created our document. Again, here are all the tools that we're using. I am using a Huion Canvas 16 Pro tablet, so I do have the option to literally draw right on my screen. I tend to set up my brushes, and I'll go from there. And I will go over all of what I'm doing right now in a different video. But basically, to get started here, I'm just gonna draw some simple shapes and show you kind of what Adobe can do. So we're gonna start here with some eyes. And again, this is very rough. I'm gonna give it one of these guys. Nice happy guy. He's smiling, it's 2021. We got a how-to tutorial on the DCP channel, so he's happy. He's happy to be here. So this is a brush stroke. It's called the paintbrush tool. And again, I will go over all of these finer details in different videos as we go along here. So let's start at the top. We have our selection tool. This is our general selection tool. Basically, if I click on a stroke, it'll highlight that stroke, and I can either warp that stroke, or I can also, if I hold down shift, I can keep that stroke in the same proportions and make it bigger. What I'm doing, as you see, I'm jumping back and forth between what I change and how it jumps backwards to what it was. I'm using Control Z, which is undo. I also have a streamed X, so I have it set up to be one button instead of two. So all I have to do is if I make a change, I hit one button, it goes right back. And then if I realize I messed up, I have a button for redo. So undo, redo, undo, redo. That's the general selection tool. Then you have the direct selection tool. Direct selection tool is a little more precise. So if I click on that same line, let's zoom in here. If I click on that same line, now you'll notice there's no box around here. anymore, whereas there was before. And now we have these little circular, what's called handles. So what the direct selection tool is it allows me to control the anchor points. These are called anchor points. The anchor points that are inside this line. So if I don't like this roundness right here and I want to make this a little more bendy on the inside or the outside, I can use these handles, as I was saying before, or I can just take one point and move it. I can take one point and move it, again, undo. If I take this handle and I extend it, you're going to see that it's pushing out just that side of that line. So now I can really change this the way I want it to look, depending on how much control I need. So the next one that I use most of the time, if I'm using a mouse, is called the pen tool. Basically, the pen tool, if you don't have a tablet, the pen tool is good for creating your lines however you'd like. Now, the way the pen tool works, and I will go over this more in detail as we go along here, but the way the pen tool works is you have the same parts of the path and you create it as you go. So you can, if you don't get rid of this handle, it's going to start with a curved line. If I click that middle button, it gets rid of that curve. So now if I want to come over here, I can make it go like that, get rid of that. If I want to come over here, give it like a more of a point, things like that. So it gives you, with a mouse, it gives you a lot of control over how to trace something. So that's the pen tool. The type tool allows you to basically type. If you want to put some lettering down, you can go to your type. You can change your font. Lots and lots of fonts. So let's say we want that font. We can go under typography and see what else they come up with. So right here, I can change this. I can change the size of the font. If you hover over an icon, usually it'll tell you what it is. All these details will be gone over more specifically in different videos. This is this shape tool. So what we have selected here is a rectangle tool. A little note, if you see this tiny little arrow next to an icon, that means that there's more functions to that icon. So if I right click on that icon, it shows you what's involved. If I right click on the type tool, there's all these different kinds of type tools. If I go to the shape tool, you can see here that I also have a rounded rectangle tool, an ellipse tool, which is circle, polygon, star, and flare. I use as many of these as I can, depending on what I'm doing. But for example, if I make a star tool, I can change this star to be however big I want. If I use the up and down arrows on this while I'm selected, it lowers the amount of points down to 3. So if I want a crazy looking star, I just keep hitting that up arrow and I keep adding points. And I can make that as big or small as I want. And then you can customize it from there. So if you want to round the edges, that's what this little circle is here, and it shows you an arc. So that means that it's rounding off all the edges. And you can get pretty cool effects. All in all, the shape tool is very powerful. You can create many different kinds of shapes. Some of these I don't use yet because I haven't found a use for them. This is an important one, the eyedropper tool. Now, I'm going to make 1, 2, 3. We have 3 different star things here. Here's the color palette. So this is your stroke color and this is your fill color. Depending on which one is in front is the one that you're controlling. So right now, if I change this color right here to a red, that means that the outside, and if we click off of this, you'll see that the stroke going around the shape is red and the fill is black. If I want to change the fill, make sure that the item's selected, make sure that the fill is in front of the stroke, and then I can change the color from here. So if I want that to be red, bam, we got a red. If I want to take this one, let's not have a fill. Let's not have a fill at all. We just want a stroke. Okay, so we want to, say, a blue stroke. Okay, so we're going to go to the blue. Okay, and we want that stroke to stick out a little more. That seems too thin to me. So I'm going to want that to be a little more bold. So we're going to go over here to properties, and you can also find this up here, stroke right here. If I just up the stroke while that shape is selected, you can see that the stroke gets thicker. Now there's a lot of detail inside of that whole stroke menu. You can also long click on these instead of right click. If you just click and hold, it'll pull up this menu as well of the additional tools. So they're the same shape, same fill. Now I want this first one. Let's change it to yellow. Okay, so we're at yellow, right? Oh, see, I clicked on the white and turned white. So let's undo that. Now, I want this one to be yellow. So all I have to do, select that, make sure my fill is above my stroke, click on the eyedropper tool, and click on the yellow. Now this one's yellow. So that's a very powerful tool too, because you can grab colors and things of that nature. If you have a shape that's already set up, you can use that eyedropper tool and it'll copy all of the properties from the original onto that one. Last but not least, your artboards. So this white square, what we set up in the beginning to be 1,000 by 1,000, this is up here. So 1,000 width by 1,000 height. This is called your artboard. You can name your artboard. So if you're doing a bunch of different projects, let's just say, right, I can make new artboards, as many as I want, and I can rearrange these if I want. You know, I can put them where I want. So if I'm doing logos, or if I'm doing emotes, or whatever I'm doing, you know, I can have a group of these over here for swatches of colors. I can have one over here just for logo ideas. I can have one for sketches. You know, it's unlimited. And you can zoom in and out of all this. Again, I'm using a Stream Deck to do a lot of these commands. Most people don't have Stream Decks. So you're going to have to use the keyboard, and the program shows you over here what the command is for said commands. So to cut is Control+X. I have a button on my keyboard that's already set up for that, so I just got to hit one button after I select it and it cuts it. So if you're ever curious as to how to speed up your process, you can always look for shortcuts, and macro pads are great for shortcuts. So I will say that. But that's the basics of Illustrator. I just want to show you how to save your file real quick. So you go to save, and basically you have a few options here. So the initial save file type is Adobe Illustrator. So you're always going to want to save that so that you have your original artwork to work on. You know, you can always go back to that original file, tweak it, and resave it. But under that normal save as, you also have a PDF, EPS, a template, SVG, and a compressed SVG. I really only use Illustrator and PDF on this. I haven't found a use for the other ones yet. However, if let's just say we save that, right? We saved our Illustrator file. I'm going to go to export down here. Now you have three options here: export for screens, export as, save for web. I usually go export as. And what I do is right down here, we have a bunch of options as well. So I mostly use JPEG and PNG. They also have a Photoshop option if you want to go into Photoshop, a TIFF, and all these other ones. So you can do AutoCAD, stuff like that. But this is where you're going to get a lot of your options from. So when I do emotes for Twitch, I have to save them as PNGs. And then there's options that go along with each of those save file types. So I'll go over all that in a different video, but I just wanted to kind of give you the idea of how to get started in Adobe. So once again, I appreciate you watching. And if you like this kind of video, give it a like. If you'd like to subscribe, please do. If you have any questions, hit me up down in the comment section. I want to help as many people as I can with this. If you're getting started in Illustrator, you can find me at DCP Twitch on Twitter. Hit me up on there. And if you have any questions, like I said, hit me up in the comment section down below. Don't forget, you can subscribe and then hit that notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a video. But once again, I thank you for stopping by. I hope you have a great day. And with that, don't forget, design your future, create your goals, and produce the best you. Thank you guys again. I appreciate you stopping by. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you in the next one. This is DCP, out.